In the middle of the day, when the weight of deadlines, meetings and stress pulls you down, where do you turn for strength?
You have gifts of the Spirit that you never thought. You have the miraculous power.
Step away and step into a place of peace, power and purpose.
Never give up, even if you meet a barrier.
Whatever you are going through right now, in every point, he has been tempted.
Join us at Life Church International, Kenya Cinema Plaza.
You have to come to that stage where there is a pressing by the word.
1 hour of worship, 1 moment of breakthrough, a lifetime of change. Elevate your brand with Elevate TV, a premier media station in the country. We specialize in video production, live coverage, advertising and social media marketing. We do quality production for YouTube videos, podcasts and live events. Transform your vision into reality with creativity and precision. Call us today and elevate your story on 0705 872 237.
Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Praise the Lord. Good morning. This is a Tuesday morning. I've always said, if you see me behind the camera in the morning, don't ask anyone. Just know it's a Tuesday morning. And on Tuesday morning, we meet here in Elevate TV and talk on matters leadership. This is your show, Morning Digest. And of course, I'm your host, Apostle Patrick Moredi Nyaga. Every time we come and talk about leadership, I get so encouraged because many people write back and say that show was a blessing to me. That's why I always say it is not my show, it is your show. What makes it your show and not mine is because my work here is to amplify what you ask and of course what you comment. So what I ask you to do is just share this link, call someone, tell someone that we are in Elevate TV talking about leadership. Of course, leadership is everything. If you are not a leader in any other place, you are leading yourself. If you are not leading yourself, of course you are leading other people. A leader starts by knowing who he is. And therefore, I welcome you to this show. Last week we began on a topic that we called the burden of leadership. It was such an amazing show. And of course, so many people wrote back to me and others asked, can we continue next time? My guest was gracious to come back and continue. And therefore, I want you to know, my guest is the same guest we had last week. This is a man who is doing it, not just saying it. He's a pastor in Karen, Arise Church. That is where him and his wife ministers. And so today, allow me to welcome Pastor 𝗧𝗛𝗘 once again to continue with our topic, burden of leadership. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's always a joy to be on Morning Digest. Looking forward to a great discussion on the subject of the burden of leadership.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Wow, you are amazing. I've always, like this week, somebody called me and said, I was watching your show and I must tell you, that man is sober and loaded. So, and whoever's in this, believe you me, and they watched and listened. So you're helping people. Thank you so much, Pastor Zach.
Thank you for
the burden of leadership.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You know, leadership is everything. And of course, we are going to touch a number of areas, but let's just do a small recap of where we stopped.
Oh, sure. Yeah, last week we began on the subject of the burden of leadership, and I think we did discuss a few matters on that subject. We began by looking at the critical burdens that leadership carry. And I think we began by saying many times when it comes to matters leadership, sometimes the attraction is the perk, the attraction is the position, the attraction is the title, and not necessarily the bigger picture of what it entails to be a leader. And so many people run for that position until you realize that that position comes with a bit of responsibility, or there's a weight and a burden that carries with that. And we didn't touch on a number of that. We did talk about the burden of decision making. And we realized that decisions are never easy. It's not always an issue of black and white. Sometimes there are ethical dilemmas. Sometimes there's the weight of every decision. Sometimes there's the consequences of decision. We also did talk about, for example, the weight of responsibility. Yeah, the greater task of leadership is responsibility. The buck stops with you. In fact, we did say that success will be celebrated by everyone, but failure is left for the leader to digest and to handle and to deal with. So I believe those are some of the areas we did tackle and highlight in our last discussion. And we did also try to see maybe how to mitigate some of that burden, trying to balance life, trying to create structures, trying to create system. I believe that's basically some of the matters that we did touch in our last discussion.
Burden of
Yes.
integrity.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, those who are joining us. We are talking about the burden of leadership, and I'm so happy for those of you who have already, started. And I want to just recognize my friend 𝗪𝗏𝗃. This man is cheering you all the way from Zambia, Lusaka. And thank you so much, 𝗪𝗏𝗃. And so leadership is a burden.
Yeah, leadership comes with a burden.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, of course, just to highlight, it's not just a gloom picture as far as leadership is concerned. Of course, there are good benefits of leadership when you inspire people, when you achieve a few things. But I think what we are focusing here is what are the actual burdens and the weight, the weight that comes on board when you take up leadership position. And maybe to build up on the same, at a personal level, or for many at individual level, one of the first weight that a leader begins to discover is what I could call the weight, the burden of insufficiency. The burden of insufficiency. Many times when we respond, and every leader responds to the leadership call, they discover very soon that they actually may not fit the bill. They discover very soon that the demands of their position and responsibility, it calls for more than sometimes you have. And sometimes in the context of Christian circles, God does that deliberately so that one, you can depend on him, and secondly, you can be able to build yourself and grow. So leadership is also a place of growth. Taking leadership role is a place of growth. So when I talk about the burden of insufficiency, it means a leader soon discovers that you have to deal with what I call insecurities. You have to discover sometimes you are leading people that seem to be better than you.
Yeah.
You're leading people that seem to be doing well in life than you. You could be a pastor, you're pastoring people who have studied more than you. You could be a pastor, you're trying to lead people who could be in the financial status, be doing better than you, And one of the burden a leader has to deal with is that constant burden of feeling insufficient. Many times you feel like you don't quite meet the bill. You feel like, am I really able to meet these people? You remember most of the leaders who are called in the Bible, they protested. Moses said, I don't know how to speak. Hosea said, I'm just taking care of the sheep. Very few people, even Gideon was like, I'm not a mighty man of valor. Who? So the first,
Jeremiah says, I can speak.
I'm just a child. He says, I'm just a child. So the first weight, the first burden to highlight today is the burden of insufficiency. A leader comes to terms with a certain element of insufficiency. You begin to realize that maybe I need to build my capacity. You live with that. It's a reality. Now, there are two ways you can handle that. You can accept the reality that, you know what, yes, I have some level of insufficiency. And I think every leader has a level of insufficiency. But what you need to deal with is to ensure that you don't start functioning out of your insecurities. Because many people take up what we call an imposter syndrome. What David tried to do, put Saul's armor.
Yeah.
You try to put an armor to look the part. Leaders expect you to do this. I remember, just to share an experience, when I was appointed as a lead pastor, my first appointment of pastoral leadership, I was a young man. I was not married. And you can imagine trying to lead people who are married, trying to speak in a couples conference, a couples seminar, trying to...
Did you?
I didn't.
Yeah.
But imagine the weight.
Young people, they argue that even Paul was not married. But it could be so, but we don't know whether he was not married or he had a wife later or whatever.
It's not quite explicit.
But the kind of information he gives, it's not just for a young person.
It's very detailed.
That was not guesswork.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is speculation. Let's not speculate.
Yes.
We say where the Bible is silent, be silent. Where it is shouting, just shout.
Exactly.
So you did not talk about it.
So I was not, I'm just being honest, I was not confident.
I would have asked you for the notes. I would have really loved to.
I'll be honest, when I got that pastoral appointment, I felt insufficient.
Yeah.
Just to share my own experience, and I felt I'm leading people who are well accomplished in life. I'm just a young man, graduated from Bible school. I have to lead a church in the city, and I felt inadequate. I felt insufficient. And to be honest, there are some instances I realized I was now operating in my place of insecurity. I was trying to affirm that I'm the leader. I was making decisions to make people know I'm in charge. When you don't deal with your insufficiency, because insufficiency should point you to build capacity. Do I need to go to school? Do I need to attend more workshops? Do I need to bring more mentors on board? Do I need to be authentic and say, I don't think that's my area of expertise? For example, the area of marriage, I had to designate elders and other mature people to handle those dockets of marriage counseling, and because some things need a bit of relevance and experience. In as much as I'm the lead pastor, I could not be busy in the women ministry. I didn't have a wife really to assist me with the ladies ministry. So I had to appoint mature ladies in the church to run with the ladies ministry. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that every leader wakes up to the reality of the burden of insufficiency. But
don't you think, just thinking through, Catholic Church, still are all these departments, they have their fathers who are not married, and they still teach.
By the way, just to be honest with you, you are not necessarily disqualified. I think that needs to be out clear. Yeah, you're not disqualified because you could maybe have the call of celibacy, but still call to the ministry, as maybe people argue in the case of Paul in some instances. It doesn't mean you are disqualified necessarily, but it means you need to be careful that you don't operate from an insecurity. Oh yeah. You don't try to overcompensate.
Yeah, because and I love your place, your point that you don't wear the imposter
syndrome.
Yeah. So I think to me that is very important.
Yeah.
Because even God, when God calls, He has never called a perfect person.
Exactly.
In any area. And a leader gets to a place where you discover that you need, as the Bible says, in your weaknesses, that is also where God comes in.
Exactly.
So I really take that very seriously.
It's true.
The insufficiency, in leadership. And when you mention that, many people rate their leader based on what the insufficiency of a leader. Yeah.
That's very true.
They see what he is not more than what he is.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and that is why a leader will try to to pull himself out of what you are seeing. And they make some decisions, affirm some. Don't you know I'm the leader? Yeah, if you don't see it, let me show you. But and that is where people go wrong.
It's an insecurity.
And, you know, I share this with you. I also became a senior pastor before I got married.
Wow.
So it was also not easy. It was not easy. But one thing I learned is that you don't have to have everything for you to lead.
Exactly.
Some things God keep on supplying as you lead. You know, you supply the wife sometimes as you lead. He doesn't have to give you all the money so that you can lead. Sometimes you are like, why do you need the money? You don't even know why. You just feel like you need it. But when you are doing God's work, you supply to meet the vision He has given to you.
Exactly.
So I think it's good for everyone to know that.
That's good.
Wow. That's
Exactly. So I think that's the first aspect of deal with your insufficiency before they become your insecurity.
Wow.
And if you don't handle it, because now when you start now operating from a place of insecurity, you are now out of balance. And you have lost track of God's assignment over your life. And as I said, the positive aspect of insufficiency is you need to build around it. One, be authentic and genuine about it. David said, you know what? I don't understand this armor business, but I know my slings and stones. Let's work with that.
Wow.
That's me.
Wow.
So get your sling, get your stones, work with that. God will use that. As you say, God appoints you with your insufficiency. Moses was appointed with a speech impairment. He couldn't speak as well as he wanted. People like Jeremiah said they were too young. People like Gideon said they were afraid, they were fearful, they were cowards, we could say. But God called them man of valor. I think just an encouragement out there. God calls you by who He has designated you to be, not necessarily who you are at the moment. So yes, the insufficiency will be there. You will feel, maybe I'm not as educated enough. If there's an opportunity to go to school and equip yourself, you may look back and say, I'm not as endowed materially. Begin to build yourself, and God will build you along the way, and you can be able to achieve what God desires you to achieve. So I think for me, that's a good starting point of appreciating that there will be a level and an element of insufficiency in your leadership. You may even have to default some decisions.
I love this young man called 𝗪𝗏 He says, insufficiency should point me to building capacity. I am learning. I think that was a very good point. Thank you for helping someone. Yeah. So, and you see, again, so many people, when they find themselves in this place of insufficiency, they fight back.
Exactly.
And they destroy whatever they built. So what do you say one should do?
I think that's what I said. One, be authentic.
Be authentic.
Acknowledge. You may even say, at this level, I'm not able to make that decision. I need to consult wider. That's not my area of expertise. You may find yourself leading. Maybe you're the pastor and you need to do a building project. You have never done any construction in your life, but you feel you need to make all the decisions because you're the senior pastor. You may be creating chaos, building landmine. You're just setting. You may be blowing all the landmines in the land. So I think one of the place of acceptance is knowing what's your area of strength. I think we talked about self-discovery as a leader. When you understand that it's not my strength, so do I need to bring other experts on board? One of the things we say about leadership, recruit along your areas of weakness.
Okay.
You don't recruit along your areas of strength. One of the things you notice in churches, if a pastor is very strong on theology, they try to bring theologians in the church so that they can have intellectual discussions. If a pastor is not pro-theology, they say theology seminaries are cemeteries. Why do I want to kill my gift? So you discover a pastor wants to draw, or leaders want to draw people to their strength instead of drawing people to their weakness. If I'm weak in administration, I should look for the strongest administrator I can get. If I'm not good with structures and financial stability, I need to bring people who are very sharp and good with finances. I should not recruit people who are just copycat of myself. You know, you don't recruit in areas of your strength. You recruit in areas of your weakness. Those are some of the ways you deal with insufficiency in the place of leadership. Yes.
Not giving up.
Exactly.
Some people just say, this thing is not working.
Exactly.
I think God did not call me into this. I need to quit.
You don't. Wow. Gideon almost gave up.
Yeah.
He was saying, no. He was running and hiding. But God prepared him and walked with him until he took up the responsibility.
Wow.
So by all means, don't give up. You are not perfect. God didn't choose you because you're perfect. But as you respond to the call, God builds you in the process.
Amen.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next burden.
Yes. I would touch on what I call the burden of integrity. The burden of integrity.
Wow.
And I would say that not to look down on us Africans, not to look down on us as maybe as a continent and all that. One of the challenges that we face today is that maybe as leaders, and not just in Africa, to be honest, it's across the world, for me, one of the key aspects of responsibility and weight that a leader carries is the weight of integrity. That you answer to self. You see, you can't lie to yourself.
Wow.
If you're not authentic, you know it. But if you live in self-deception, you can ignore the weight and the question of integrity. And to be honest, that's what we are suffering with today in much of the leadership, be it in the corporate world. I mean, to be honest, we've had scandals in the corporate world as great as in Europe, in Americas. Investment funds in the billions have collapsed, banks have collapsed. Africa, we've had our own scandals. It's across the board, to be honest. Because I think the question of integrity in the place of leadership, most leaders don't understand that by taking that position, there is an expectation that you uphold integrity. And once you lose the integrity test, you have lost trust. And you know, trust has to be earned. You have to go through the process. So the aspect of the burden of integrity is very critical. You see, right now in the country, there is a very heated debate on leadership. And I think we cannot run away from the fact that maybe from the recent by-elections, those who are from Kenya would understand, there's been a lot of heated discussion about the quality of leadership and the place of integrity in leadership. And I believe that's a big discussion even within the country at the moment.
You know, when you mention about leadership and integrity, so many things come into play. And I would want us to be there, to zero in on that, because it's like definition of integrity is different. You know? I remember in a place where I was talking, and I think I've written that in my book, Money Matters, about the integrity. And I have said that the integrity is not just something you pray for overnight. And they say, praise the Lord, last week, I heard about this and I initiated integrity, and I committed myself for a whole night. I prayed the whole night. I woke up with integrity, a lot of it. It's something you work through. And in leadership, it's like people have a definition of integrity that is not,
the standard one.
The standard one. Thank you. Now, when you look at leadership in every sector, whether corporate, whether church, whether politics, does that one integrity work across? Is it integrity the same in politics, integrity the same in church? Is it the same?
By all means.
Or do we define it based on which
the context? No. To be honest with you, integrity is integrity. Even from the aspect of a person leading a family of 4 people. If your integrity is put in question, if your own children cannot trust you as their dad, as their mother, once you lose the battle of integrity, you have lost your authority. It is the integrity that gives you authority. Many times in many parts of the leadership, which is even the discussion at the moment, if a leadership is compromised, if a leadership fails the question of integrity, then they lack the moral authority to address matters they need to address. If a pastor fails the test of integrity, maybe about finances, maybe about morality and other aspects of it, even your sermons, you'll be very silent on those subjects. Because by losing integrity, you lose the authority, the moral authority. In the context of governance and civic leadership, like in a context of the Kenya, if we can't pass the test of integrity, then we will be very mum and very wishy-washy. We will be very ambiguous on dealing with integrity matters.
You know, the reason I'm saying this, and I know we will still stay there, it is in a public domain for those who have been in this country for some time, of a leader who was caught in someone's house, a man, and he was flogged naked. And the people thought that is now he is over politically. Wait until the next election, the following election. The guy stood before people. He said, all these people talking to you are fake. Me, I have come to ask for votes, and you people know me. There's nothing about me you don't know.
They twisted it.
Can you imagine? He twisted to look like I'm transparent. So
you know my scandals.
Not even a scandal. You know me.
This is me. I'm not pretending.
No, I've been naked even before you. That's what it means. And you see, honestly, that person should not even have stood before people.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But he twisted the evil. And they make it even something people should celebrate. And I think when Paul says, who has bewitched you, there's a kind of witchcraft that needs to be dealt with when we talk about integrity. And we'll be touching it in a short while, integrity and finances.
Yes.
We are now in a serious political time. And you know, Kenya, anything is about politics. In fact, I tell people, I was in another country and they were telling me we have election this year. I said, which year? Actually, in 3 months' time. And what are you doing? Because I can't even see.
You can't feel it.
Yeah, he told me, no, campaigns have not started.
Eh?
They have not started. 3 months. They have not. I'm like, for us, as we are swearing in the president, we are still campaigning for the next one. Allow me to read a few comments. Then we'll continue because we have to touch about integrity, money, and of course today we want to mention a few things on politics because leadership is leadership. Josiah Brand says, recruit in the area of your weakness. Yes, and Douglas Mogambi says, recruiting the areas of weakness is super statement. I love this. There's a friend of mine called Joe Wisdom, blessings from UK. Where? Are you in the UK, Ukambani, or UK, United Kingdom, or United Kisumu? Anyway, this is a man, UK may mean so many other things. He's my good man here, and he hosts a show on men. And Joe Wisdom, and says, blessing from UK, the host and the guest dissenting the topic like lack of importance, 100%. Thank you so much, sir. And of course, as I've always said, I don't want to be stones to be thrown at me if I don't read the people who are in YouTube. If there is a comment, I don't want to leave it. Apostle David Juma, our father here, says insufficiency leading to insecurity. That's a good point. So build capacity and learn from mentors. Thank you so much. Nyawera says, it is integrity that gives you authority. Very, very powerful. Wow. Yes. So before we go, money has been pawned. Money is supposed to buy. You know what I mean? Yes, we have to talk about that.
Yes. I think when you talk about integrity, we cannot avoid the discussion of money. Because one, we need to understand that money is a tool that can either be useful or harmful. And even in the context of leadership, not just politics, even in every aspect of leadership, money should be a tool. It should never be. It should never be the end. It should never be used for. A tool like a panga has its place. You can use a panga to trim the fence and what have you. That same tool, you can use it to harm someone. So money should be viewed as a tool, even in the context of political leadership. It should never be. It should never be the thing for manipulation. And I think the question of Africa and Kenya, maybe to be specific, is we need to redefine the place of money in politics, because money has become synonymous with politics in Kenya. In fact, the day you announce, Apostle, if God ever speaks to you, the day you declare you are interested, we have to weigh you Unatosha mboga? Can you feed us?
Mfuko yako.
Yes.
iko namna
How heavy are you?
No,
and
you
by
know,
heavy is not about values.
You know, as I said, they show if we don't mention Okarao, we are not dealing with the leadership.
Yes.
So we are going to take a short break. As you think about Okarao, where that place is, I don't know whether some of you know what that means. We'll be coming and continuing from there. Allow us to take a very short break, 2 minutes, and then we'll be back to continue. Keep on writing, keep on asking questions, and when I come back, I'll read. Thank you.
Explore a world of knowledge at Elevation Bookshop. Dive into topics like marriage, money, and spiritual growth with our vast reading materials. But that's not all. We are thrilled to introduce new additions like stationeries, notebooks, modeling clay, dictionaries, pencils, kamusi, and more. And calling all students, gear up for success with our back-to-school items, providing you with everything you need to excel in every subject. At Elevation Bookshop, we're here to assist you in finding the perfect resources for your journey. Do you have specific preferences or looking for something special? Visit us at Kenya Cinema Plaza, mezzanine floor, or contact us on 0748 902 225. Elevation Bookshop. Enrich your life.
Need professional live streaming for your event? Elevate TV delivers high-quality, reliable live streaming solutions designed to give your event the reach and excellence it deserves. From corporate conferences and church services to book launches, concerts, and special events, we ensure your audience stays connected wherever they are. With advanced equipment and an experienced production team, we provide clear, seamless, and professional coverage that reflects the true standard of your event. Our portfolio includes KICC events, Standing Strong, Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, EAK, at 50, and the International Christian Professionals Conference. Let us bring your event to life. Call 0705 872237 today. Elevate TV, amplifying your event, expanding your reach.
I told you 2 minutes, and then you can be sure those were 2 minutes. And we are back. We just are talking about leadership and the burden of leadership. When we were just going on this short break, I said we will be talking about more on political issues, just to mention a few things. But before then, I received a question here which I want to read so that my guest can answer. And the question is, Michael Chia asked, Apostle, let's talk about how a follower should respond to insecure leaders. This has affected growth and incited rebellion.
Thank you for that. It's important to first understand from the onset that God puts people in authority, not because they are perfect, but because he has chosen it in his divine will. He chose Moses, who had a speech impairment, yet his main role was speaking. Okay? He would choose leaders who, like Gideon, are supposed to lead people to war, but he is hiding wheat from the Midianites. He's cowardice. So from the onset, it's important to understand the whole bigger picture of leadership. where even the scriptures would say in the context of Christianity that, it is God who puts people in. All authority is ordained of God. So regardless of the leader's insecurity, regardless of the leader's limitations, he is divinely ordained and put there by God. I think let's start with that. That's important. Then the question becomes now, how do I navigate? How do I relate with a leader who I perceive, because that's also a perception, I perceive this person is insecure. So you need to first understand what it means to the concept of working under someone. If you ever work with someone and you perceive there's a level of insecurity, you should be able to work in a way that you are not aggravating the situation. Because when you deal with an insecure person, they are very unstable and very easily triggered by what they perceive to be threats. Whether you threaten them by you being better or you threaten them by you pointing out their areas. So one of the things to do, don't point out their areas of weakness. Don't challenge them in public. Not because you're being coward or you're withholding yourself, you're applying wisdom. Because the Bible says the government does not bear the sword in vain. Meaning anyone who sits on the throne, they have some strings they can pull. And maybe your life can become more difficult than it should have been. So your point should not be to highlight this leader is insecure. Your point should not be to say he's insecure, he's incapable. That should not be your focus. That may be what comes out of you. But also you may want to say, okay, why did God put them there? The other good question to ask yourself is, why did God put me to work under this leader? You see, the moment you begin to look at self, the only place you can make improvement is self. You can never change an insecure leader. You can never mold them out of their insecurity. That's something they need to deal with it themselves. And you being a subordinate, you have it's a very thin line. It's a very balancing line to try and say you want to address a leader based on their insecurities. So the moment you pick that, you need to understand, how do I relate with them without them feeling that I'm necessarily trying to embarrass them, I'm trying to prove they're incapable, I'm trying to expose their inadequacy. So your work would be to affirm them as a leader, your work would be to honor them as a leader and demonstrate submission. That does not mean it's cowardice. It doesn't mean you don't know they're insecure. And you'll be surprised as you serve like that. They will look to you as one of their pillars. But the easiest thing to do is for people to rally people against them, to go and mobilize, to go and discuss them in the corner, to say, you see how he's insecure, this guy, why is he even in this position, who even appointed him? But because you have forgotten the fundamental principle that that person is put there by God, and God knows maybe that person is insecure, then brings you to work under them. Maybe, and could it be, there's a lesson you need to learn with working under such a person, where you can affirm people, where you can be their support people, you can be their support pillar, so to say, without necessarily, for me, exposing their areas of weakness. Because insecure people are very sensitive. The moment you try to correct them, especially in public, they will show you they're in charge. Unfortunately. Or fortunately. They will try to prove I'm in charge. So the moment you understand who you're dealing with, and that's why there's what you call a bit of emotional intelligence, how to relate with people, depending on their what to say, what not to say. For me, the prayer there is wisdom. Ask God to give you wisdom in that season, how to navigate with them. Demonstrate submission. Don't let them feel you're challenging them, or don't spark their areas of weakness. Don't trigger their insecurity. Because the insecurity will be there, but don't trigger it. Let them know you support them. Let them know you believe in them. Thank them for being a leader. Not that you're being a sycophant, but you're navigating the place of wisdom. And quickly for me to say, I always ask people, how come Daniel was able to work under 5 kings? Some of the kings were crazy, like Nebuchadnezzar. They would put a pillar in the city and say, worship me. They were insecure. How did Daniel navigate to work under 5 kings? There are dynamics of transiting. There are dynamics of studying your leader and understand what they need and do according to them. I remember back in university, we used to have lecturers who used to tell us, write the paper for me, not for those other lecturers. Whatever they told you, that is for them. When you write the paper, it's for me. So when you work for them. Do what you know works for them, not what others people would want.
Or say what I told you in class.
Yes, just... there were those moments in at the university. But I believe that's it. There's a bigger picture beyond the leader's insecurity. It's a place of, are you there to grow? And why would God put them there? There's a bigger picture beyond them. pass the test, and progress to the next season of your life.
But I love that. And then also, insecure leaders are still insecure. Don't add more insecurity.
Exactly.
I think one of the things I've noted is that the insecure person, if you deal with that person with understanding, you can easily open up.
Exactly.
Because one, you must show you are not a threat.
Exactly.
Number two, you must show that you are not here to prove that he is wrong.
Exactly.
But you are here to help or to work with them.
Yes.
And you know, you can still work with that person without saying you know nothing. Yeah.
In fact, one of the way is to credit them when success is there. You see, as our leader has told us, as our leader, you're not being a sycophant. You are using wisdom to deal with that person.
Yeah.
And that way your life becomes easy.
Yeah.
In that season.
So I think that's a very well answered question. And of course, as it is saying that every leader has an area of insecurity. You like it or not, it will not be amplified, but there is a place. Even in a family,
yes.
If you ask people, what is your fear? What do you call your fears in marriage? You'll be shocked that there are people who have areas where they really fear. And if we are not careful, that becomes their areas of insecurity.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Now, money. Money.
Yes, yes. It's actually a big issue. I think, to be honest with you, we cannot talk about integrity and ignore the question of money. One, we start from an aspect of you use money as a tool to build towards your vision, whether it's a government, whether it's a church, whether it is even in the family setup. Because you can use money to buy children, to manipulate children. Money is a tool that can be misused by leadership. I think that needs to start from a family level. The church, the pastor can use money. He can decide, I'll pay you when I need you. Tell me when you need money. Instead of giving your people who may be under the payroll. There are people who say, when you have a problem, just call me. They don't give you something to say, this is what you're working with. You have to call them every time you need airtime and every time you need to transport and all that. So my point is this, in the context of leadership, even at a higher level of national level, the government must appreciate the aspect of integrity. Because the moment, or rather whoever is in the place of leadership, whether it's at the county level, whether it's at the national level, the question of integrity is critical. Because if you don't deal with money and integrity, once you fail that test, then trust is something very difficult to win over once you have lost it. Because integrity and trust are the same thing. And those are the things that gives you the moral authority. And I think to hit the nail on the head, we've had the controversial issues around the development of the recent by-elections in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And there's a lot of question about, is money being used as a tool of manipulation? Is money being used to subvert democracy, as it were, in the country? And is money becoming the key factor in appointing of leadership? To be honest with you, there's a lot of uncontrolled, there's a lot of unregulated manipulation of voters or citizens with the use of money. That has been happening. It's not starting now. Maybe 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has heightened the whole discussion, but I think our politics has been heavily manipulated with money. And that is very counterproductive, because it means that every leader who goes into position must make sure they secure enough money, whether legal or illegal, to be able to maintain themselves in that office, to be able to afford the next campaigns. And so what happens is that money becomes literally a tool of manipulation, as we've seen recently, from even both quarters and what have you. So I think that's a big discussion that we need to have as a country. I'm not sure whether there are ways we can legislate around that. But when all is said and done, it's a question of, do we really want to deal with this issue? Or is it an issue we want to leave it hanging there? I remember there was a discussion of senior leaders or political leaders should not be involved in fundraisers.
Yeah.
But even if that came to pass, there are still many ways that leaders still do it.
No, it didn't come to pass. They still do it.
They still do it?
Yeah. When a leader stands, they say, I've been sent. If you are sent, the one sending is participating.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
when you stand and say, we have money for this, let me say this, man of God, I may be wrong. We need to have a serious discussion. And the reason why I brought in the Okarao thing, it is falling on two divines.
Yes.
One, is it integrated to eat money, to take money
From a
when
politician.
from a politician when you know you're not vote for them?
Yes.
Gas. Name them. Gas,
Yes.
gas cooker, mattress, boats, railway. Not railway, but what do we call it? Yeah.
The post, the electric post,
The electric
whatever.
post. Things came, shoes. And then you know very well after you have taken,
You're not
voting.
You're not boarding.
You are not boarding. And I hear both crying. Why spend? Why take our money and don't vote for us? And then the opposition is very happy. It's saying that is what it means to be principled. Yeah.
Are they applying the principle of the shrewd manager?
So I'm trying to understand where is the integrity now? Refusing the money. And then I also hear the opposition is saying it is our money, which I agree. Because where did you get that money from? It is our money.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
is our money.
It is my taxes.
You brought it. You have not been bringing, but you have the reason to bring it now.
For whatever
there's
reason.
A joy. There's a joy because it is our money. Okay? But then we are not bringing it because it is yours. We are bringing it because we want you to vote our man. Now you have eaten our money.
You didn't deliver.
And you cooked with our gas. You slept on our mattresses. And you did not deliver. So where is integrity? Maybe somebody can also help me in the comment section by answering this. But I want you to help us here.
It's an interesting discussion and a tricky discussion. And maybe sad that that's where we are as a country. That we can be induced with incentives to try and buy our way. We've unfortunately, this is the reality of the matter, because of the so-called economic realities of the people at the moment. People are willing to sacrifice anything. There's even been cases where people are willing to sell their national ID for 1,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Because even if I vote, I don't expect to see anything. But because of that lack of foresight, and because of the what I call realities of the current reality, someone has, slept hungry, so to say. Someone is in dire need of just an upkeep. Basic bread and butter issues are not solved in their lives. They are willing to sell themselves cheap. And for me, that's a challenge where you have a disenfranchised population who are not empowered. Because part of empowerment, for me, when we talk about independence, when we talk about development, it should not be just about projects and all that. It should be, are people empowered enough to make their own decision? Because someone who is not economically empowered is really not free. The discussion has always been free. The discussion has always been, when you talk about freedom, it should be freedom with economic empowerment. That's a big issue. Yes, most African countries will say we gained independence. But to the extent you're not economically free, you are still a slave. And the leaders, shrewd leaders, will exploit that reality of a very disenfranchised population who are desperate to incentivize them, or rather, so to say, buy their votes using money. And so money becomes a tool of manipulation. So to answer your question, integrity cuts across the board, so to say. But the bigger question is one, is because of, do we have a failed leadership policy over the years that have left the majority of the population in dire need and disenfranchised to the level that they are willing to sell themselves cheap? Because that's a reality. And what that has created today is that we have put ourselves in a place where we may never get an opportunity to choose genuine and authentic leaders. Because today, if an authentic leader vies for position, na wakuje kwa ground, the first question is, toa kitu muhesh.
What are you bringing?
Yeah, toa kitu. We don't hear your policies and your plans and your vision. We have now created a narrative where money talks.
Yeah, but Okarao refused money. I mean, refused to vote. The question is whether they were voting between a good leader
That's the issue now.
and a bad leader.
Of course, there are many dynamics when it comes to voting and so-called democracy. In terms of, did they have a choice in the alternative? Was it a protest vote? Was it, the person being chosen, do they even know their policy? You see, there are other discussions that can come along that. Yes, they didn't go by the so to say, how they were incentivized to vote. They didn't go, they didn't vote that direction. But that also doesn't mean that they made the best choice. Because the question would be, did they participate even in the nomination of these other leaders, and what were the other options on the ground? There are quite a number of dynamics that comes into question. But for me, the question still remains, when we talk about integrity and money, have we put ourselves as a country at a place that we have made it difficult to ever get genuine and authentic leaders? Is that where we are as a country? Because money has become the big factor.
Wow, thank you so much. But, well, of course, my condolences to the family and those people who lost their loved ones in this Okarao campaign. So sorry. Our condolences from this studio, from 𝗟𝗏𝗡 TV, and from myself and my guest here. But I still want us to go and talk a bit about the things that happened. This bribery, voter bribery, we saw. But then the kind of violence that was there, is it because of insecurity of leadership? Yeah, let's look at that.
It's unfortunate. I think we have to grab the bull by the horn, so to say. It's unfortunate that such scenes were witnessed. In one, what is unfortunate is not to in any way to lower the scale, but to say, you're talking about a by-election here. It's not even a national election. We are building towards a bigger election and a bigger context, so to say. The fact that we have come to a place where such a single position is so heatedly contested to the level people are willing to go all the way, where politics has become life and death, because that's what was witnessed. It's for me, one to say, very unfortunate. On the same note, I would also put the government of the day to task to say, I think to whom much is given, much is required. I think the honor still lies with the government of the day, with the leadership structures of the day, to ensure that such things should never be witnessed. And the government should take responsibility, should be seen to do something, should do something, and should be seen to do something. One of the things that crumbles a society, the reason why Haiti is Haiti today, is because the moment we allow the rule of law to go through the window, if I can mobilize thugs and goons or vigilantes, whatever you want to call them, and they can carry out their operations in the light of day without any censure or any concern, that should be a big issue of concern for us as a country, because that is not a good path we are going. And I think with all honor, with all due respect, we need to appeal to our authorities to say, this issue of Kalau should not be let to go like that. There has to be justice. There has to be seen a bit of leadership. They talk about heads rolling, but I'm not sure whether there is a political goodwill for that.
The road of the end has no end. So that
good one.
Yeah, the road of the end.
Is there the goodwill to really go to the bottom of this? Is the government implicated? Is the leadership of the day really pushing for a change? Because if that's a narrative, it paints a bad picture for me. It's a paint a bad picture, and we really need to, really trust God and maybe hope that someone, their conscience will be pricked to say, that's not the way to take the nation. It's not a very healthy path to take.
Yeah, and I think we need to, when we talk about civic education, we need to really handle it more than it is written in the book. That we need to talk to our people and talk about real morals. Every one of us who has a chance, whether in our family, whether in church, whether in public places, just talking about these issues of integrity. Because I believe with all my heart that, of course, politics, we know, is about numbers. And at some point, the one who has more people will be voted.
Yes.
In a normal
all things being equal.
Yeah. Of course, we know it could be one who has more machinery or one who knows how to count votes. All these happen, but I think we need to even talk to our people. We also need to talk to people and help them to know how, not just to take, slogans that they are coming and just receive them as they are. It's also going to interrogate, because sometimes we can lose good things looking for what is being promised that is not good, and sometimes we can lose we can keep bad things thinking they are good, but we need to talk to our people. But bottom line, integrity is very key.
It's very key.
And when we are looking for leaders, it is good that we think about integrity.
Exactly.
Integrity is not perfection.
Exactly.
It is one of the qualities that comes, sums to perfection. So we are not saying give us perfect leaders, but we are saying give us leaders with integrity.
That's a way to go.
Allow me to just read a few comments here. And I have Douglas Mugambi says, irudio tena, it's good discussion. Ijaisha na nataka turudia namna gani sasa. Thank you, Douglas. And then we have Faith Shuku says, great discussion. Perry says, many people are struggling for ground. So they cannot refuse money from politicians. But they also communicated powerfully by not voting for bribers. I think that's a good balance. That it's our money, we enjoy,
but it won't influence my decision.
Yeah, but we are designed. We are not buying in to the bribery. They say take the gift, vote your conscience, or vote with your conscience. Yeah, don't refuse a gift. But again, the gift must also be interrogated. It says poverty keeps corrupt leaders in power. It's unfortunate. And of course, Paris, there is a saying that poverty thrives in the ignorance of masses, and of course the poverty of masses. So if you keep them ignorant and poor, you can lead them.
Control them.
And of course, allow me to just read this other one. President Nyawera says they rejected incentives. So, man of God, this burden of leadership, even our politicians, they also feel the burden because some of them joined an already flowing river.
Yeah,
this is how things are being done, and we have to do it anyway. So, what would you say in a minute that this person should do? Do I just come out and say, integrity does not allow me, or do I dance as per the tune?
I think there's something I touched on in the last discussion where I said there seems to be an element of truth when we say a society gets the leaders they deserve. And that's to mean that the leaders we see today is a sample of us as a society. So as we look at our leaders and the things they are doing, we need to say that if we were to switch them with any of us in that position, the question would be, would we do any better? Or have we succumbed to the script? And this is how things are done. But to answer to that question, for me, at the end of the day, someone should appeal to their conscience, and say, is this, there's times you ask yourself about what will be my legacy? What will I be remembered for? What am I, what do I stand for? Who am I? The question of what do I stand for? And am I willing to lose everything just to remain standing for what I believe in? The question is, do we still have, as a leader, you need to ask yourself and say, do I have the conscience? Do I have the values? What do I still stand for? Am I willing to lose it just because of what I believe in?
Wow. That's what we end for today. Burden of leadership. And of course, the burden of integrity, the burden of insufficiency. That is what we were able to handle today. Thank you so much for staying tuned, for writing, commenting, asking questions. That is why this is your show. We are going to end here and wish you a blessed day. Remember, next week, Tuesday, we shall be here on Elevate TV continuing. I invited you to the Standing Strong conference last week. I must also thank you for coming. On behalf of the leader, our leader, Apostle Juma, I want to say thank you so much. I also want to say thank you because you support and believe in Elevate TV. Continue sharing and telling people at Elevate TV, there are great shows, great teachings, and great things happening. I wish you God's blessing. Apostle Patrick Moridi is my name. I minister at Gospel Celebration Church in Kayolo 1, and I welcome you to fellowship with us as well every Sunday. A great ministry is taking place in that place. You can also find me in YouTube and Facebook, Apostle Patrick Moridi Nyaga, and if there's a question you'd want to ask or any comment, we can continue the discussion even after this. From my side, I say, God bless you. Shalom.